Well, in general, we know that language is something through which we can communicate. Like, I'm using a language to talk to you. Similarly, being an electronic device, computer also need a language to talk or communicate with different components of the machine. Fine. So, these languages are some basic principles, some rules, some instructions which are there available in the computer, with the help of which it can communicate with different components. So now let's read and discuss. A computer language are the set of rules and symbols required to operate a computer. Fine. It simply means it is a set of rules and symbols with the help of which we can easily operate a computer system. Fine. These are also termed as programming languages. Generally, these languages are used to communicate with a computer or machine. It means generally with the help of these languages we can communicate with our machine. Fine. So now, if we are talking about communication, it means we will write some of the programs by using these languages, or we will do something with the help of which we can make this computer to understand our instructions. Fine. So now, first we have to discuss about programs. Fine. So programs are the instructions which are written using these languages so that we can communicate with the machine. Fine. Suppose you want to perform any functionality. So for performing that task or for performing that functionality, you will write a program in your computer, and then your computer will work on the basis of that given program only. Fine. Now, the person who writes the program is termed as a programmer. Fine. So when you will write a program, you will be termed as a programmer, and that code you have written, the instructions that you have written, that instruction set will be termed as a program. Fine. Now, let's discuss about one more thing. As we know that for every language we have some set of rules. Fine. Likewise, in grammar you have learned some rules of English or Hindi. Similarly, in this computer language, we have some set of rules that we have to follow. So, we have to discuss about syntax now. Syntax, each computer language has its own grammatical rules, and these rules are termed as syntax rules. Fine. It means in every language there will be some rules that we have to follow, and these rules will be termed as the syntax of that particular language. Fine. Now, next. Now we have to discuss about the complete classification of these computer languages. Well, these computer languages are divided into two categories: low-level languages and high-level languages. Now I'll first discuss about these two categories. Initially, when the inventors of the computer developed these computers, at that moment this computer was just an electronic device, and that is the main reason it was only able to understand the electricity or electric current. Fine. And I think you might have learned this last year that in electric current we have two states, 0 and 1, where 0 stands for off and 1 stands for on. Fine. Now this language of zeros and ones is termed as binary language. Fine. So it means we can say that initially our computers were only able to understand the binary codes, and this language is termed as low level language. Fine. The native language of a computer is termed as its low level, and then the language that we can speak, which our computer is not able to understand, that language is termed as high level language. Fine. So initially the computer's native language was binary language, that is machine language. Fine. Then some changes were made, and then this language was converted to assembly language. Fine. Both of these languages are low level languages because these languages can only be understood by the computer. Fine. It was not possible for a programmer to decode these languages because these were very difficult. Now let's discuss about this one, high level. Now, the language that we can speak, that our computer cannot speak, that language is termed as high level language. Fine. High level language is our native language which our computer cannot understand. Fine. So when we write any program in these languages, these programs are termed as high level language programs or high level language codes. Fine. Now some of the high level languages are C, C++, Java, Python. Most of these are advanced languages, but there were some old languages like BASIC, Fortran, COBOL, BCPL. Fine. all of these are high level languages or HLL. Fine. In short, high level language is termed as HLL and low level languages are termed as LLL. Fine. Now we will discuss about low level languages in detail, and then after that we will discuss about high level languages in detail. So let's start. Well, low level languages. The low level language is a programming language that provides no abstract from the hardware. Fine. And it is represented in 0 or 1 form. It means it was just made for the hardware and it was in the form of zeros and ones. Fine. It was made in such a way that our computer or the machines were directly able to understand it. Fine. And these were termed as machine instructions. The language that comes under this category are machine language and assembly language. Fine. There are two categories of low level languages. These are machine language and assembly language. Now let's take an example. Suppose we all can speak in Hindi or English. Now for us, this Hindi or this English is a low level language because we can directly understand this language. There is no need of extra knowledge about these languages to understand. Suppose I am saying something to you and you must be able to understand me. Fine. Or for example, if someone will talk to you in Hindi, you will be easily understand him and then you can easily respond to him. Similarly, these low level languages are the native language of the computer. So when we write any program in these low level languages, our computer is easily able to understand these languages. Fine. There are two categories, machine language and assembly language. Now let's begin. Machine language or binary language. Machine is also termed as binary language. Fine. Now, machine language is the language in which instructions are given in the form of zeros and ones. Fine. In this language, everything was in the form of zeros and ones. Hence, it was very clear to the computer and it was very fast for the computer to execute these languages. Fine. Machine language programs are understood by the computer without any translation and hence are executed very fast as compared to the programs written in any other language. Fine. Because these codes were in the form of zeros and ones only, so that's why it was very easy for the computer to understand these codes. Fine. Likewise, suppose if I will write something in Hindi or in English, you can easily understand that thing. But suppose if I am writing that thing in any other languages, let's say Russian or Japanese or Chinese, you will not be able to understand that code. Fine. Similarly, if you will write something in the machine language, your computer can very easily understand that. But if in case you are using some other language, it will have some difficulty. Fine. Now these codes were only understood by the computers. Fine. The biggest problem is that the language of this 0 and 1 is only known to the computer. Hence, it was very difficult for the programmer to understand these codes. And the biggest problem was to identify the errors. Fine. Debugging these codes is an impossible task as need to check all binary codes. Fine. Debugging of this code was the most difficult thing because for debugging one code we have to check every binary sequence. Now, suppose this sequence is given here. Fine. This sequence is a binary sequence. Fine. In machine language, everything we have to write like this. It means everything will be in the form of zeros and ones. Fine. Whether it will be your name, my name, any mathematical equation or any other thing, everything has to be in the form of zeros and ones. And that is the biggest problem, that we can't easily understand that what we have written in the form of zeros and ones. Fine. Can you please tell me what I have written here? Well, I don't remember what I have written. Fine. So that's why it was the most difficult one. Now, second category of this language is assembly language. Fine. Assembly language is the language in which instructions are given in the form of abbreviated words and these words are termed as mnemonics. Fine. This word is pronounced as mnemonics. Here this M is silent, so you don't have to read this M. Fine. It will be simply mnemonics. Fine. The only difference between machine language and assembly language is that in machine language everything was in the form of binary, but in assembly language we were using some words. Now let's see what are these words. For example, the mnemonic LD is used for loading a program. Suppose you are loading a program, so for that you will use LD keyword. Suppose you are moving some data, for that you will use MOV. Suppose you are adding something, then you will use add. Suppose you are subtracting something, you will use sum. Similarly, there were some keywords that we have to use, and these specific keywords are termed as mnemonics of assembly language. Since instead of zeros and ones, mnemonics were used in this language, it was a bit easier for the programmer to understand this language. But still there was one problem. The problem was that because there were some words now, so it was not easy for our computer to understand this. First problem. Second problem was that an assembly language program is also machine dependent. It means these programs can only work on one machine. Fine. One program that you will write in the assembly language can only work in one machine. It is one of the biggest drawbacks of this language. Now, programs written in assembly language are not directly executable. It means whatever you are writing in the assembly language will not be understood by the computer. So it means first we have to convert this assembly language code to the machine language, and then only your computer will understand the codes. Fine. So for this task, it requires a translator called or known as assembler. We have to first summarize this much. Fine. So there are two types of low level languages, machine language and assembly language. Fine. Machine was in the pure form of binary, whereas assembly was in binary plus some mnemonics were there. Fine. In this machine language, the programs were easily understood by the computers, but in the assembly language, there were some mnemonics, and that's why we were using the assembler. Fine. I hope you have got this much. So now we are moving towards our next category, that is high level languages. Now, in this high level language is the language in which programs are written using English like keywords and mathematical symbols. Fine. Likewise, last year you have learned basic. So that basic was very similar to the English language. So that means it was a high level language that we have learned. Fine. So in these high level languages, we have some English like keywords, and these keywords are very easy to remember for a programmer. Fine. It is very easy for a programmer to learn these keywords and to use these high level languages. Fine. And that's why we are using these high level languages for programming purpose. Some most common examples of high level languages are Basic, Fortran, Pascal, C, C++, Java, Python, and so on. Fine. There are so many languages that we can use as high level languages. Now, here comes the biggest problem. Well, because in this language we have some English like keywords, so that's why our computer was not able to understand this language. Fine. And for that purpose, we need some special programs. Now let's take an example. Suppose one day you met a person and that person can only speak in Chinese, let's say. Fine. Now to understand him, either you will need a dictionary or you will use some apps of your phone to translate his language. Fine. Or might be you will need someone who can directly translate his words to you. Similarly, in our computer, when we write any high level language program, that high level language program is not directly understood by the computer. Fine. So it means first we have to translate that program into the low level, and then only our computer will understand the codes. Fine. So now compiler or interpreters are the translators used for converting high level language programs into the corresponding machine language. It means in this high level language we have two translation programs. First one is compiler and second one is interpreter. Fine. With the help of these compilers or interpreters, we can convert or we can translate our programs into the machine language form so that your computer can easily understand your codes. Fine. So now we have to discuss about these few things like compiler, interpreter, assembler. So now let's move to the next part here. Fine. Now next is language processors or translators. So I hope you have got this much. Fine. If in case you have any query, you can do one thing. Pause the video, revise it once, and then start from here. Now, language processors or translators. Well, for converting human written code, that is source code, into machine code, well, this machine code is also termed as object code, translators are used. Fine. The code that we are writing, that code is termed as source code, and the code that our computer can understand, that code is termed as the object code. Fine. So for converting the source code into the object code, compiler or interpreters are used as a translator. Fine. But we have one more translator, and that one more translator is assembler. Fine. So you have to keep one thing in your mind, that we have three translators. We have three translators. First one is termed as assembler, second one is termed as compiler, and third one is termed as interpreter. Fine. So first we will start with the assembler. Assembler here now. An assembler converts a program written in assembly language into its equivalent machine language. Fine. It means your assembler will convert your assembly language code. It means the code with mnemonics into the machine language code. Fine. As you can see this flow, here we have this assembly language program, then we have this assembler over here, and it is converting it into the machine language code or binary code. Fine. And as we know that our computer can easily understand that thing, so that's why it will become very easy for it to understand our logic. Now next translator we have as compiler. Fine. Now a compiler converts a program or a source code written in high level language into machine language. Fine. Now the basic objective of a compiler is to convert the source code into the object code. Fine. It runs through the entire high level language program in one go and reports all the errors it finds in the source code along with the line numbers. Fine. Now the biggest important thing with the compiler is that when you will write your source code, in the middle of that source code it will not highlight any error. But once when you will finish writing, and once when you will execute your program, only then it will check for all the errors in your program. Fine. And then it will return you the errors also if in case there are any error, or if there are no errors, in that case it will show you the output, or it will generate the object code. Fine. So now after all the errors are removed, suppose there were some errors and now you have removed the errors, in that case the compiler gives the machine level equivalent code called object code. Fine. And then we can use that object code for the output purpose. Now let's understand this first. Fine. Suppose you have written some program. Fine. So now after writing that complete program, your compiler, I am saying after writing the complete code, your compiler will read this file at one go. It will read this file at one go, and then it will convert it to the object code. Fine. And then this object code is saved in our PC and we can use it over and over again. Fine. Now next we have interpreter. Now let's see what we can do with the interpreter. An interpreter is a language processor. Fine. It is similar to the compiler, but there is one major change that we have to learn. An interpreter is a language processor that works by reading and executing the source code of a high level language program line by line. Fine. In this interpreter, it reads our code line by line. It means it will read first line, it will check the errors in that, and then only it will move to the next line. Suppose there are any error in that line, in that case it will not execute the next line. Fine. If there is an error in any line, it reports it at the same time, and program execution cannot resume until the error is rectified. Suppose you were writing a program, fine, and in that program suppose you have done any error. In that case, this interpreter will read that error line, and then until or unless you will not rectify that error, the program will not work. Fine. And if there is no error, in that case program will directly switch to the next line. And the object code produced by the interpreter cannot be saved. Now the biggest problem is that the object code that we are getting with the interpreter, we cannot save that object code. So every time the program is run, and it needs to be interpreted again and again. Fine. This interpretation is a time taking process, whereas compiler is very fast in nature. Fine. I hope you have got this much. So for today we have to discuss this much only, but for our next turn we have to discuss about the internal hardware components. Fine. It was our part 1 of this video. Now notes of this part is there in the WhatsApp group. Fine. You have to download that PDF. You have to write that PDF either in your register or in the pages of your old register. Fine. Later on you can stock these pages in any new notebook. Fine. So just now you have to do this work in the registers, and in our next turn you will get a note of internal hardware components along with the new video. Fine. So till now you have to learn that video, revise everything, learn everything, and be ready with your queries for the next turn. So thank you for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, keep learning, and keep supporting us.